So let's explore how Tywin enters crowded conversations. First off, with a boom.
I'm told we still have his sisters.
The first order of business is ransoming Sir Jaime.
No truces. We can't afford to look weak. We should march on them at once.
First, we must return to Casterly Rock to raise
They
more.
have my son!
Now, you may struggle to be heard when there's a lot of people speaking. Many of us do. You might stop and start, try to find your way in politely, and ultimately not get listened to at all. But not Tywin. He startles people by going from silent to booming in an instant. That grabs attention immediately. But what's interesting is that he often doesn't stay booming for too long. Once he has attention, he quiets right back down. Pay attention to any group, and you'll see that the person who is listened to when there's a lot of people trying to speak is often the loudest when entering. Don't stay loud forever though if you're going to use this small piece of advice, because that can just be obnoxious. You may also have noticed that Tywin is very comfortable with silence. Tywin likes to use silence right after people have said something to provoke him. It gives them a few extra seconds to regret their decision to stand up to him and to sit in fear of what he might do next.
My father won the real war. He killed Prince Rhaegar. He took the crown while you hid under Casterly Rock.
The king is tired. See him to his chambers.
The silence that Tywin makes creates a stare down like you might see for boxing or UFC promotions. The first person to flinch or look away loses, which is why fighters go to such great lengths to not give an inch of ground. And this isn't just an arbitrary rule that was made up for boxing. Flinching and breaking eye contact are built-in evolutionary tells that communicate fear, which is why they can sometimes matter even more than raw strength when it comes to a confrontation. Because when one animal isn't afraid, that's a good sign that it has an advantage that needs to be respected. Just watch this charging gorilla back off when a puny little human doesn't flinch, even though the gorilla could obviously tear him limb from limb.
Charged and charged and charged again. And I think, and I'm sure, if I would have even flinched once.
But Tywin's sub-communications of power go beyond the ape realm. His word choice is a distinctly human way of using power. He doesn't ask people what to do or make threats by saying, if you do this, then I'm going to respond like this. He tells people what they are going to do using the word will. It conveys absolute certainty that they will do as they are told. And again, the certainty that Tywin will be listened to adds to the sense that he should be listened to. Just watch.
You will go to King's Landing.
And do what?
Rule. You will serve as Hand of the King in my stead.
A similar thing occurs with Tywin's inflection at the end of sentences. It's always downward, emphasizing that this isn't a question, like this. Listen to Joffrey do the reverse, asking Tywin a question with an upward tone, kind of like this. This is great acting, which mirrors real life. When people feel nervous or lacking in power, they will naturally begin to ask questions and flip their intonation upward, like in this scene.
The council meetings in the Tower of the Hand, instead of the small council chamber.
I have, yes.
May I ask why?
Don't get me wrong, there are times when you will want to ask questions and speak with an upward inflection. For instance, players like Tyrion and Littlefinger use more subtle lines of questioning to make someone act and feel like it was their idea to do what Tyrion or Littlefinger wanted. That strategy tends to work better in modern times as well. For instance, when speaking to employees, you may prefer to say, "Could you please do this for me?" rather than demand it of them. That way they feel less put upon and happier to help you. First, he often makes people wait before he speaks to them. This is a tactic that is still used today in negotiations, and its purpose is the same. Making someone wait is a power signal, a circular one. It says, "We will do things on my time." And before the negotiation has even started, both parties have subtly agreed that the person who controls the time that the negotiation begins is more important. Check out how he stands over Tyrion when wielding power over him.
You are an ill-made, spiteful little creature, full of envy, lust, and low cunning.
Tywin is literally looking down on Tyrion, and if you've ever held a conversation while someone stood over you threatening you, you know how much more powerful this can make them seem. But people aren't always sitting and they aren't always dwarves, so another way that Tywin makes them feel his domineering presence is by invading their personal space. And he does this specifically at the exact moment that he's making his big point, so that they're more likely to react to his commands rather than resist them. Check out how he does it with Jaime here.
The future of our family will be determined in these next few months. We could establish a dynasty that will last 1,000 years. I need you to become the man you were always meant to be. Not next year, not tomorrow. Now.
With regards to changing the scenario, lastly and crucially, Tywin almost always creates a situation where he gets the last word. This means that the conversation is closed on his terms. He does this either by commanding people to leave once he's made his point.
Speak no more of your rights to Casterly Rock. Go.
Or he does it by leaving the room as soon as he's made his point. He leaves no time or space for argument.
You can drink, you can joke, you can engage in juvenile attempts to make your father uncomfortable, but you will do your duty.
So remember, speaking last creates a lot of authority and has tremendous power. It's also likely to direct the other person's thoughts long after you've left.